The massive display screen in Earth Defense Force headquarters lit up with unknown signals. Admiral James Stone stood from his chair, his weathered face illuminated by the flashing red alerts. After 2 centuries of space exploration, humanity had finally made contact with alien life, and it wasn't friendly. "Sir, we're detecting multiple ships entering the solar system," reported Officer Smith, his fingers flying across the holographic controls. "They've just passed Neptune's orbit. Size and energy readings suggest a major fleet." Stone nodded calmly. Humanity had prepared for this day for generations. "How many?" "Over 300 vessels, sir. Their technology appears to be more advanced than ours, but within predicted parameters." The Admiral walked to the center of the command room, where a 3-dimensional map showed the approaching fleet. Their formation was perfect, too perfect. It spoke of an empire that hadn't faced real resistance in a very long time. "Open all channels," Stone ordered. "Let's see what they want." The response came quickly. A towering figure appeared on the main screen, humanoid but clearly alien, wearing ornate armor that sparkled with precious metals. Its skin was pale blue, and its eyes held the arrogance of assumed superiority. "Primitive species of Earth," the figure spoke in perfectly translated English. "I am High Commander Vex of the Galactic Empire. Your world has been chosen for integration into our grand civilization. Surrender now, and your transition will be peaceful. Resist, and we will be forced to demonstrate our power." The command room remained silent. Stone studied the alien's features, noting the lack of scars or signs of hardship. This was a warrior who had never faced true war. "High Commander," Stone replied, his voice steady and almost gentle. "I am Admiral Stone of the Earth Defense Force. We appreciate your offer, but we must decline. In fact, I have a counterproposal." The alien's expression shifted to one of amusement. "You dare to counterpropose to the Empire? Your species has barely mastered basic space travel. What could you possibly offer?" Stone smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Not an offer, High Commander. A warning." He gestured to Officer Smith, who transmitted a carefully prepared data package to the Empire's fleet. "What I just sent you is a small sample of human history. I strongly suggest you review it before making any decisions." "Threats from primitives." Vex laughed, the sound echoing through the command center. "We have conquered 10,000 worlds. Our empire spans 3 galactic arms. Your species is still burning fossil fuels on half your planet." "That's precisely why I'm warning you," Stone said quietly. "You've conquered worlds, Commander, but you've never faced humanity in war. We're giving you one chance. Run." The alien's face darkened with rage. "You dare?" "Yes, we dare," Stone interrupted. "Because unlike your empire, we don't want war. We've seen too much of it, done too much. Every advancement we've made, every technology we've created, came from our need to fight better, kill faster, survive longer. We're not peaceful, High Commander. We're just tired of war." "Empty words from a doomed species," Vex snarled. "You have 1 planetary rotation to surrender, or we will begin our assault." The transmission cut off. In the silence that followed, Officer Smith turned to his admiral. "Sir, they're not going to listen, are they?" Stone shook his head, his expression heavy with the weight of what was to come. "No, they won't. They can't comprehend what they're facing. Their empire grew too fast, conquered too easily. They never developed the one thing humanity has mastered over millennia." "What's that, sir?" "The art of warning your enemies," Stone replied, entering his command codes to activate Earth's defense systems. Throughout human history, the most dangerous opponents were never the ones who attacked without warning. They were the ones who tried to avoid conflict, who gave their enemies every chance to walk away. He looked up at the tactical display, where thousands of hidden defense platforms were coming online throughout the solar system. Quantum computers began their targeting calculations. AI systems started analyzing the Empire's fleet movements. predicting attack patterns. Send one final message to the Empire. Stone ordered. Keep it simple. Officer Smith nodded, transmitting the 3 words that humanity had learned, through countless wars and countless deaths, were the most terrifying warning of all. You were warned. The board lit up with Empire ships beginning their approach, unaware they were flying into the killing fields of a species that had spent its entire existence perfecting the art of war. Humanity's first interstellar war was about to begin, and they had tried so hard to prevent it. High Commander Vex stood before the Empire's War Council, playing the humans' warning message to scattered laughter from the assembled generals. They warn us to run, General Rex said, his scales gleaming under the chamber's lights. From primitives who haven't even colonized their own moon permanently. Vex smiled, but something about the human admiral's calm warning bothered him. Their arrogance will be their downfall. Show them the might of our fleet. In the corner of the chamber, Master Historian Lee raised his hand. Unlike the others, he wasn't laughing. High Commander, if I may, I've reviewed the historical data they sent us. Spare us your scholarly concerns. Another general scoffed. What could their history teach us? The historian activated the chamber's main display. This, honored generals, is what humans call World War II. It happened 3 centuries ago. The room fell silent as images flashed across the screen. Cities reduced to ash. Machines of war rolling across continents. Massive metal birds dropping destruction from above. Millions dying in camps. 2 suns appearing where there should be none, erasing cities in instants. This was them fighting themselves. The historian continued, his voice grave. They did this to their own species. Vex waved his hand dismissively. Ancient history. Primitive weapons. With respect, High Commander, this was just the beginning. The historian changed the display. After this, they had something called the Cold War. 2 sides, pointing planet-killing weapons at each other for 50 years. They created weapons that could end all life on their world 7 times over. And they lived with this reality every day. The laughter had stopped completely now. The council watched as the display showed humanity's military advancement. Tanks evolved into automated war machines. Planes became invisible death dealers. Soldiers transformed into armored warriors with targeting systems in their eyes and combat drugs in their veins. But surely they've grown past this, one of the younger generals said. Their message mentioned being tired of war. The historian nodded. Yes, because they got too good at it. He brought up more recent footage. This is from their last civil conflict, just 50 years ago. Watch their combat robots. Study their urban warfare tactics. Look at how they've turned their own violent nature into a science. The room watched as human soldiers moved through ruined cities like ghosts, their armor making them nearly invisible. Swarms of tiny drones hunted targets through buildings. AI systems predicted and countered enemy movements before they happened. Every advancement in their society, the historian explained, came from war. Their space program started as a military race. Their medical breakthroughs, combat medicine. Their AI systems, designed for warfare. Even their entertainment teaches war. They call it gaming. Vex felt the first stirring of unease. But we have superior numbers, superior technology. Do we? The historian brought up analysis of the human defense grid they detected. Their weapons are designed to kill, High Commander. Not to conquer, not to subdue. To kill. They don't think like us. They don't fight like us. Another general stood up. They're just one world. We are an empire of 10,000. Yes, the historian agreed. 10,000 worlds that have never faced an enemy like this. 10,000 worlds that grew soft under our protection. He paused the display on an image of Earth's admiral. They warned us to run, High Commander. In all our records, across all our conquered worlds, how many species warned us to run? Silence fell over the council chamber. The answer was none. Every species they'd encountered had either welcomed them or fought immediately. None had simply warned them. "Your orders stand, historian," Vex said finally, but his voice held less certainty. "The attack begins in 6 hours." As the council filed out, the historian stayed behind, studying the image of Admiral Stone. The human's eyes held something the Empire's warriors had forgotten over their centuries of easy victories: the tired knowledge of what war truly meant. In Earth's defense headquarters, Admiral Stone watched the Empire's fleet continue its advance. "They didn't listen to the warning, did they, sir?" Officer Smith asked. Stone shook his head. "They couldn't. They don't understand what we are." He pressed a button, and Earth's defense grid hummed to full power. "But they will. That's the hard part about warnings. Sometimes you have to prove why you gave them." The first wave of Empire ships entered the outer defense zone. Humanity's response was about to begin, and with it, the Empire would learn why Earth had tried to warn them away. "Fleet Formation Apex 7 is complete, High Commander," reported Captain Dex from the Empire's lead battleship. 300 ships ready to begin the pacification of Earth. High Commander Vex stood on his command bridge, watching the holographic display of their fleet formation. It was beautiful. A perfect arrow of warships pointed at the heart of the human solar system. The same formation had broken the will of 1,000 worlds. "Begin the advance," he ordered. "Standard conquest speed." The massive fleet moved forward as one, their engines painting blue trails across space. As they passed Mars' orbit, Captain Dex frowned at his readings. "High Commander, we're detecting no movement from Earth's forces. Their ships remain in orbit. No defense platforms are activating." Vex smiled. "As expected. They see our power and freeze in fear. Continue the advance." But something felt wrong. The historian's warnings echoed in his mind. A species that had mastered the art of war wouldn't simply wait helplessly. In Earth's Defense Command, Admiral Stone watched the Empire's approach with tired eyes. "Status of the quiet web?" he asked. "Deployed and invisible, sir," Officer Smith replied. "They have no idea they're already surrounded." Stone nodded. The Empire's perfect formation told him everything he needed to know about their experience with real war. No veteran commander would bunch their ships so closely together. It was pretty, but pretty formations got soldiers killed. Time until they reached the first line. 3 minutes, sir." Stone opened a channel to all Earth forces. "Remember your training. Let them come to us. No heroics, no glory-seeking. Just cold, efficient warfare." The Empire's fleet crossed an invisible line in space. For a moment, nothing happened. Then Officer Smith smiled grimly. "First line engaged, sir." Aboard his ship, Vex was thrown against his command chair as explosions bloomed across his fleet. 30 ships vanished in the first second. 40 more in the next. The perfect formation shattered. "What's happening?" he roared. "Unknown weapon signatures," Captain Dex shouted. "Some kind of quantum-linked mines. They're everywhere." "Impossible. Our sensors showed clear space." But the explosions continued. The mines were linked somehow, each detonation triggering others in a complex pattern that herded the Empire's ships exactly where Earth wanted them. "Pull back," Vex ordered. "Reform at safe distance." As his ships retreated, human vessels finally appeared, seeming to fade into existence from empty space. But they didn't pursue. They simply held position, waiting. "Damage report," Vex demanded. 97 ships lost. High Commander, 43 severely damaged. Captain Dex's voice shook. "Sir, we lost a third of our fleet without even seeing the enemy." On Earth, Admiral Stone watched the Empire's retreat. Analysis. "Their ships are faster than we estimated," Officer Smith reported. "But their tactics are basic. No electronic warfare, no countermeasures. They relied entirely on shields that they thought were impenetrable." Stone nodded. "A common mistake. When you've been the strongest for too long, you forget how to fight smart." He studied the tactical display. "They'll come back. pride won't let them retreat after one defeat. Their second attack will be more cautious, Smith predicted. Yes, which is exactly why Line 2 is designed for an aggressive enemy. Stone's eyes reflected the light of distant explosions. Let them learn the wrong lesson from this defeat. Back in the Empire's fleet, Vex raged at his command staff. How did we not detect their minds? Where are their ships hiding? The tactical officer spoke hesitantly. Sir, analysis suggests their technology isn't actually superior to ours. They're just using it differently. Those weren't normal minds. Each one was thinking, coordinating with the others. And their ships, they'd bend light around them somehow. Find a way through. Vex commanded. I want a new attack plan in 1 hour. We will not be humiliated by a single world. As his officers scrambled to obey, Vex stared at the distant blue planet. The humans had warned them to run, and now he understood why. They didn't fight for glory or conquest. They fought to win, using every dirty trick, every clever strategy, every advantage they could create. The real war was just beginning, and the Empire was starting to realize they weren't ready for it. 3 days after the first battle, the Empire's main battle fleet arrived. 500 new warships joined the remaining forces of the First Fleet. High Commander Vex stood proudly as the reinforcements took position. Now, humans, he growled, you will learn what it means to defy the Empire. But on his command screen, a message flashed from Admiral Stone. Last chance to run. Vex deleted it without responding. All ships, attack pattern Delta. Spread out this time. Don't let their minds trap us again. The Empire's fleet advanced in loose formation. Energy weapons charge. This time, they launched probe drones ahead to scan for threats. Vex had learned from his first defeat, or so he thought. In Earth's command center, Admiral Stone watched the approach with the same calm expression he'd worn since the war began. They're being more careful, Officer Smith noted. Yes, Stone agreed, but they still think this is about ships and weapons. Show them what human Marines can do. Across the Empire's fleet, alarms suddenly blared. Captain Dex's voice crackled over the command channel. High Commander, our rear ships are reporting. Boarders. Impossible, Vex shouted. We're nowhere near their fleet. But the reports kept coming. Somehow, human soldiers were appearing inside Empire ships. Not in large numbers, just 3 or 4 per ship, but the damage they caused was devastating. Security camera feeds showed armored figures moving like ghosts through corridors. Their suits seemed to bend light, making them nearly invisible. Empire soldiers fired at them, but the humans moved too fast, their movements enhanced by their powered armor. How are they doing this? Vex demanded. His science officer studied the readings. Some kind of quantum tunneling technology, sir. They're teleporting soldiers directly into our ships. Seal all critical sections. Increase internal security. But the humans had studied their targets well. They didn't try to capture the ships. Instead, they planted small devices in key locations, engineering sections, power cores, weapon systems. Then they vanished as quickly as they had appeared. Warning. Computer systems screamed across the fleet. Unknown devices detected. Energy spike. Explosions ripped through 20 ships at once. Not big enough to destroy them, but perfectly placed to disable engines, weapons, and shields. More ships reported systems failing as the human devices activated, spreading crippling computer viruses through Empire networks. Launch fighters, Vex ordered. Find their transport ships. Sir, his tactical officer replied, voice shaking, there are no transport ships. They're using some kind of long-range teleporter. We can't trace it. That's when the main human fleet appeared, dropping their light-bending camouflage. But instead of attacking the Empire's powerful warships, they targeted the now-exposed fighter squadrons. Advanced AI systems predicted and countered every evasive maneuver. Railguns fired projectiles at speeds that turned small metal slugs into devastatingly powerful weapons. Pull back the fighters, Vex commanded. But it was too late. The humans weren't just winning. They were teaching the Empire how real war worked, one brutal lesson at a time. In Earth's command center, Stone received damage reports, casualties. 3 Marines wounded during boarding actions, Smith reported. No deaths, Empire losses. 47 ships disabled, 38 destroyed. Their fighter squadrons are at 60% losses and counting. Stone nodded. Send the next message. Aboard his flagship, Vex received the transmission. Unlike the previous warnings, this one included video footage. It showed Earth's full military production facilities, revealing that humans had been building ships and weapons nonstop since first contact. The message was simple. This is only our first wave. Run. For the first time, real fear crept into Vex's heart. The Empire fought to conquer, to rule, to dominate. But these humans, they fought with the cold efficiency of a species that had turned war into a science. They didn't want to conquer the Empire. They just wanted to show why they should be left alone. High Commander, his tactical officer reported quietly. The human fleet is moving again. Your orders. Vex stared at the tactical display, watching more red dots disappear as human forces methodically took apart his fleet. They weren't just winning battles, they were destroying the Empire's belief in its own invincibility. And they still hadn't shown their full strength. Master Historian Lee rushed through the halls of the Empire's command ship, holding a data tablet that shook in his trembling hands. The guards outside High Commander Vex's quarters stepped aside. They had learned to trust the historian's insights after his first warnings proved true. High Commander, Lee gasped, entering the room. You need to see this. Our deep scan probes finally broke through Earth's data encryption. Vex looked up from battle reports showing more losses. What could be worse than what we've already seen? Everything. The historian activated his tablet's holographic display. Sir, we've been fighting them completely wrong because we didn't understand what humans are. They're not just warriors. They're survivors of their own violence. The display showed scenes from Earth's classified military archives. Weapons that had been banned by their own people. Warfare techniques too horrible to use. Combat drugs that turned soldiers into unstoppable killing machines. This is their restricted weapons vault, Lee explained. The things they decided were too dangerous to use. The weapons they're using against us now. These are their peaceful options. Vex stood slowly, his face pale. Show me. The historian brought up more files. They developed these over centuries of fighting themselves. Chemical weapons that could kill millions. Biological agents that could wipe out whole species. Nanobots that could strip a planet bare. But they don't use these weapons, Vex noted. No, and that's what makes them truly dangerous. Lee switched to another file. Look at this. Records of something they called guerrilla warfare. Small groups defeating massive armies. Tactics for fighting against superior forces. For thousands of years, they'd been perfecting the art of being the underdog. The display showed scenes from human history. Farmers defeating professional armies. Resistance fighters outlasting invaders. Smaller forces consistently beating larger ones through cunning and determination. The weapons they're using against us now. Lee continued. They're holding back. Those quantum tunneling devices our ships detected. They could send bombs instead of soldiers. The computer viruses. They could have fried our life support instead of just disabling weapons. Vex sank into his chair. Why show me this now? Because I finally discovered why they warned us to run. The historian's voice shook. High Commander, humans don't fight wars like we do. We fight to conquer. They fight to end threats. Permanently. New images appeared. Vast wastelands where ancient human wars had left their mark. Cities rebuilt from atomic fire. Entire regions still uninhabitable centuries later. They're not trying to defeat us, Lee explained. They're trying to save us. From themselves. At that moment, alarms blared through the ship. Officer Dex's voice came through the speakers. High Commander, Earth's forces are moving again. but differently this time. In Earth's command center, Admiral Stone reviewed the final authorization codes. "All preparations complete, sir," Officer Smith reported. "The demonstration package is ready." Stone nodded heavily. "Send the final warning." Across the Empire's fleet, every screen displayed the same message. "Final notice. You have 1 hour to retreat beyond Neptune's orbit. What follows will not be an attack. It will be a demonstration of why we warned you." "What are they planning?" Vex demanded. The historian studied his data. "Sir, these readings, they're bringing something up from inside their planet. Some kind of massive underground facility. Deep beneath Earth's surface, ancient doors opened for the first time in a century. Machines built with humanity's darkest knowledge emerged from storage. Not planet killers or doomsday weapons, something far worse." "Sir," Officer Smith said quietly to Admiral Stone, "are we sure about this?" "Revealing the deep arsenal. They need to understand," Stone replied. "Sometimes the only way to prevent a war is to show why it should never happen." He pressed the final activation key. "Launch the demonstration package." In space, the Empire's sensors detected something new rising from Earth. Not weapons pointed at them, but a display of power meant to teach them the final lesson about humanity. They were about to learn why Earth had tried so hard to warn them away. Why humans spoke of war with sadness instead of pride. Why the most dangerous species in the galaxy were the ones who begged you not to fight them. The terrible truth was about to be revealed. The Empire's High Council chamber had never been so quiet. On the main display, footage from their fleet showed Earth's demonstration of power. A small, uninhabited moon in the outer solar system simply disappeared. Not destroyed, not shattered, but erased from existence. High Commander Vex stood before the Council, his usual confidence shattered. The humans call it their space-folding technology. They claim it was developed 3 decades ago and immediately locked away as too dangerous to use. Locked away. One council member whispered, "They built something that can erase entire worlds and chose not to use it." "Yes," Master Historian Lee stepped forward, "because humans understand something we don't. The difference between having power and using it wisely." The council chamber's displays showed their fleet losses over the past week. 200 ships destroyed, 300 more damaged or disabled, thousands of crew members dead or injured. And Earth's forces were still just using their basic weapons. "They're giving us a chance to leave," Vex continued. Their Admiral Stone sent a final message. He played the transmission. Stone's tired face appeared on screen. "You've seen a fraction of what we can do. That demonstration, it's one of our lesser weapons. We have devices that could turn your ship's crews against each other, plagues that could sweep through your empire, AIs that could corrupt every computer in your fleet." The Admiral's eyes showed no joy, no pride, only sadness. "But we don't want to use them. We've spent centuries learning the cost of such weapons. Please, run. Go home. Live." The council chamber erupted in argument. One side called for immediate retreat. The other demanded they bring the Empire's full might. Tens of thousands of ships to crush this threat. "If we retreat," General Rex argued, "we show weakness to every world in the Empire." "If we don't," the historian countered, "there might not be an empire left to show weakness to." Vex watched the debate rage. A week ago, he would have demanded they fight to the last ship. But he had seen too much. The humans didn't fight like warriors. They fought like exterminators, efficient, methodical, unstoppable. "They're not even fighting at full strength," he said quietly, but the chamber fell silent at his words. "Everything they've done, the quantum tunneling, the invisible ships, the computer viruses, those are their peaceful weapons, designed to disable rather than destroy." The council's leader leaned forward. "Explain." Vex gestured to the historian, who brought up more images from Earth's military archives. "They have weapons that could have ended this war in seconds. devices that break the laws of physics, plagues that could sweep through our worlds. But they choose not to use them. Why? Someone asked. Because they're trying to save us, the historian answered. Their message wasn't a threat. It was a desperate attempt to prevent what they know they'll do if we force them to fight for real. On the main screen, Earth hung beautiful and deadly in space. Their sensors showed more ships appearing around the planet each day, more weapons being prepared. But still, the humans waited, giving the Empire time to choose. A vote. The council leader declared, "Do we retreat and preserve our empire, or fight and risk everything?" In Earth's command center, Admiral Stone watched the Empire's fleet closely. Officer Smith stood at his side, monitoring their sensor readings. "Will they listen this time?" Smith asked. Stone studied the enemy formations. "They're afraid now. But fear makes some people run and others fight harder. Either way, we show them enough that they know we weren't bluffing. And if they choose to fight," the Admiral's eyes turned to the deep space readings, where the rest of humanity's forces waited in the darkness between stars. Ships and weapons built over centuries of preparing for this moment. Things that should never have been created, but were, because humans understood one terrible truth. Sometimes the only way to preserve peace was to be so dangerous that no one dared disturb it. "If they choose to fight," Stone said quietly, "then we'll do what we've always done. We'll end it. Completely." The Empire's fleet hung motionless in space, waiting for the Council's decision. The next few hours would determine whether they learned from humanity's warning, or learned why that warning was given in the first place. The Empire's fleet moved slowly backwards, keeping their weapons pointed at Earth as they retreated. High Commander Vex stood on his bridge, watching his mighty armada withdraw from a single planet. But there was no shame in his eyes now, only understanding. "All ships maintain course for Neptune's orbit," he ordered. "No sudden movements. No aggressive actions." On his command screen, the Council's decision flashed. Full withdrawal authorized. The Empire recognizes Earth as forbidden territory. Behind the retreating fleet, Earth's forces remained in position. They didn't celebrate. They didn't taunt. They simply watched, weapons ready, until the Empire was gone. In Earth's command center, Officer Smith checked the deep space sensors. "Last Empire ship has passed Neptune's orbit, sir. They're accelerating to faster than light speed." Admiral Stone nodded slowly. "Stand down from combat alert. Begin powering down the deep arsenal." "Sir," Smith said, looking at his commander, "we could have ended this on day one. Why did we give them so many chances?" Stone walked to the window, looking up at the stars. "Because we remembered our own history. How many times did humanity almost destroy itself? How many wars could have been prevented if someone had just stopped and warned the other side?" The massive display showed the Empire's ships vanishing into deep space. But this time, they left something behind. A message buoy broadcasting on all frequencies. "Play it," Stone ordered. High Commander Vex's face appeared on screen. He looked different now. Older somehow. Wiser. "People of Earth, we came to your world thinking we were the most powerful force in the galaxy. We were wrong, but not for the reasons we first thought." The commander's image shifted, showing scenes from the brief war. "Your weapons are impressive. Your tactics are superior, but that's not what makes you powerful. What makes you truly dangerous is that you understood the cost of war so well that you tried to prevent it, even against an enemy that threatened your world." Stone watched silently as Vex continued. "We've conquered thousands of worlds. Every species either surrendered or fought immediately. But you warned us. You showed us your power in stages, giving us every chance to retreat. You understood something it took us 1,000 years to learn. True strength lies not in winning wars, but in preventing them." The message changed to an official decree. "By order of the Empire's High Council, the Sol system and all its inhabited worlds are hereby declared sovereign territory. No Imperial ship shall enter this space. No military action shall be taken against Earth, not because we can't fight you, but because you taught us we shouldn't. As the message ended, Smith looked at the status reports. Sir, our long-range sensors show the Empire's fleets are withdrawing from this entire sector of space. They're creating a buffer zone around us. Smart, Stone said. They finally understand what we are. And what are we, sir? Stone turned from the window. We're the species that learned to hate war by becoming too good at it. Every weapon we built, every tactic we mastered, was born from the hope that we'd never have to use them again. Across Earth's defense network, weapons powered down. Ships returned to their hidden docks. The deep arsenal sank back into its underground vault. But they didn't disarm. They didn't lower their guard. Because humanity had learned another lesson from its bloody history. Peace through strength only worked if you maintained that strength. 1 month later, Master Historian Lee presented his final report to the Empire's High Council. The humans have a saying, he told them. Speak softly and carry a big stick. They tried to speak softly to us. They showed us their stick only when we forced them to. And now? The council leader asked. Now we understand why they warned us to run, Lee replied. Not because they were afraid of us, but because they were afraid of what they would do to us if we didn't listen. In the depths of space, the Empire's ships established new patrol routes, carefully avoiding the border of human space, and on every Imperial ship, a new standing order was added to the command protocols. If you encountered humans, listen when they warn you to run. They're trying to save your life. The end.